Okay, ladies and gentlemen, we do apologise for some of the issues that we have had, but here you can see down into the chicane, we're right along board with Jamie Washworth, because you can see an incident just starting to develop ahead of him. They come down into the corner, we saw just a moment ago Abicopa Lopez, there he is, spinning. We'll go right back to have a look at Rushworth. There you can see him coming out the final corner, cars storming around the racetrack, and then Rushworth, he made the contact there with the number 12 car. Of course, it's been in the mix with cars of a little bit of action here today already, and it's one of those things, Rachel, one driver has an issue, the concertina effect at Road America is so strong that it all comes together. So we'll get one more look then. Abicopa Lopez, and I want to go on board with him. We'll put it into slow motion. You see, there's the contact right there. Abicopa Lopez was the one who initiated that contact, Rachel.
Yeah, he got passed by the previous third place car, Sanchez, and just made too much of a dive down the inside through that final single line, really, in the final corner. Of course, this has really hurt our front end of the grid, of course. We've now lost Fabio Gonzalez, the 111 that was hit by Rushworth. Rushworth is suffering from extreme body damage on that car of his, but of course all the top 4 or 5 are now, so we could see a big battle on our hands as undamaged cars come up to catch them. Danilo Jacobs, previously damaged from bumping into Rushworth, not rear bodywork damage now. Coba Lopez damaged, Rushworth damaged, and Gonzalez and Sanchez falling even further.
13 minutes left on the play clock. There you can see the gap between Pablo Lopez and Danilo Jacobs now up into second place. Now the good thing, which is a crazy thing, Rachel, the good thing for this team is that Jacobs, in amongst all of the craziness, is second for the Iberica Racing Team. So it's still an Iberica Racing Team 1-2, but Abicopa Lopez is in third. It's an Iberica Racing Team 1-2-3 right now, throughout all of the chaos.
Yeah. That's one way to recover from this silly accident, which nearly wiped out half of their entries. So they've gotten very lucky, Will.
That's absolutely crazy. Jamie Rushworth, by the way, is up into 4th place. Amando Palumbo, there you can see him on your screen, up into 5th, but he's got a bit of a battle going on. This is the one that's been going on for a while now, with Tom Valentini in the battle for P6 on the racetrack. And you've got to think, Rachel, that this one will come down, I think, to that final run into the chicane, as we're having a look from the rear now of Palumbo to work themselves through the S's.
Will, exactly, Will, of course, but even though Rushworth, for example, is damaged, he's still running the same lap last time round as Palumbo in 5th, so... Absolutely crazy stuff. And so having a say from the rear of Palumbo right now, but in this battle for P5 on the racetrack with Palumbo, this is going to be, I think, a very interesting run to the flag. As I said, just ahead of him though, there's good battle still of Abicopa Lopez and Jamie Rushworth, battle for P3 and 4. Now, for Rushworth, he needs to get 3rd place to get points. It doesn't matter if Copa Lopez loses that 3rd place in terms of how many points a Berkeley Racing Team are going to get, but it's again about how many points the opposing teams are going to get, respectively, for the MovieGo Racing teams right along board with Jamie Rushworth. Exactly, and the next MovieGo car in the field is actually Wojciech Savidovic down in 9th place, although he has fallen back a bit from Fabio Gonzalez. Though undamaged at this time, he might not really be able to gain many more places. We've seen 4 seconds behind him in that MovieGo Racing Porsche. But Rushworth has a real chance here, Will, to actually make a move on not only Coba Lopez, but Jacobs as well. Both of them obviously nursing damage, about the same amount of damage as Rushworth. So he really does have still an opportunity for a good finish today. Of course, Rushworth has got damage, as does Copa Lopez. He's got a bit of damage. In fact, Copa Lopez going down to the inside of his teammate, who was thinking about it there, as we work along board then with Copa Lopez. Now, the issue is, if Copa Lopez and Jacob start battling too hard, one of them runs one a bit wide, that would be the chance for Rushworth to have the opportunity, I think, to make that move down into, arguably, I think, the chicane. Is Copa Lopez, will he try and select down the inside? No, he won't. He will stay in line for the time being. Having a look further back, you've got Gonzalez. There you can see Gonzalez on your screen. He's closing up to the rear. Car off, Will. We have got a car off somewhere. And there we are. That car. Yeah, it is Racers there, who's just actually backed his car into the wall as well. Not a good day for Blue Flag Racing, because Mark Warmington is already out of the race, Rachel.
Yeah, that was Konstantinos Gigias, I believe, Greek driver. He's, well, back on track now. A rather embarrassing spin in 21st place, Will.
Yeah, there we'll have another look then for Drusillers down in the 17th position. We'll have a look on board of him. Now you can see already a little bit of damage to that number 14 blue flag racing car, and it just looks like a messy spin from the start there, Rachel. I think the damage to the handling of that car just isn't working the way it wants to be. Backs it into the wall, a little bit of damage, brings it actually onto the racetrack rather unsafely as well, because the car was coming at speed, just came straight back onto the racetrack. That was almost a very dangerous incident.
Exactly, onto the racing line, approaching a blind crest. Not exactly where you want to do it. Although, just bringing attention back to the front of the field, Rushworth is starting to reel in Koba Lopez. I think Koba's been having a few little wobbles now and again, so maybe his car's not handling as well as he'd like, because the prowling Movie-Go car of Rushworth is all over his gearbox.
And we're having a look on board with Rushworth as they come out of the final corner, down towards the final corner, then that start-finish straight. And I think, though, for Rushworth, he's got a golden opportunity right now, despite the damage he has to his car. Very lucky that he didn't get any more damage in that impact. You see a little bit of damage to the front, a little bit of damage to the rear of his car, but they continue to circulate. 8 minutes left on the play clock, and Rachel, that will equate to about 5 more laps in this race.
Yeah, well, the way things are flowing, I think, yeah, maybe 5 or 6 laps will, because time is really winding down now, and it's go time for these drivers. Rushworth, I think he's waited long enough. He knows he's got damage, but he knows the cars ahead are, as we see Koba Lopez get another wiggle out of that turn 5 curb. I think using it with a damaged car is probably not the best thing for him.
And there you can see just behind a nice little scrap going on with Stefano Grilli battling for position with Fabio Gonzalez for P7, P8 on the racetrack. Nice little scrap going on here between Movano Racing Team and Movano Racing Team drivers. Don't really think they're going to be fighting too hard for these positions. And slightly disappointing day for Movano after a strong showing last week, Rachel.
It is, but of course very different track to last week at Road America, so it's really going to bring out different teams with different strengths in their drivers, Will.
As we're having a look there, Abicopa Lopez, you see he's got himself now an 0.8 of a second gap to Jamie Rushworth. He is right behind his teammate, Danilo Jacobs. Do you think at some point there might be the call? Because we know that Copa Lopez is faster than Jacobs. We saw it in the early going. Right now, Jacobs arguably is holding up his teammate and putting his teammate under increased pressure from Jamie Rushworth, in my opinion.
Well, I think if we were to see these hypothetical team orders we've been talking about most of the race, Will, I think it would be a good decision, because Koba Lopez has got the speed, and the McLarens are obviously faster in this race due to their design. If you can get him away from Rushworth, Jacobs can actually defend and hold up Rushworth. But if you were sitting in Jacobs' car and you got the order, would you want to listen?
Well, that's
radio problem. Sorry, can't hear you.
Interesting question, because even though this is a team championship, as we're just checking in with Rafael De La Palo in the Movano Racing Team car there, trying to make up a little bit of lost ground after incidents in the early going. Right behind Bill Castinas right now, as these guys battle for position on the racetrack, up into 12th place then for the Pano, and there you can see the gap with the Hellenic Racing Team driver ahead, just about 4 tenths of a second on the racetrack, as they work themselves out of 7 once again. And it's that thing as well, even though this is a team championship and it is only team points that matter, you have that thing, Rachel, that you have driver pride, and driver pride means an absolute lot to these drivers. Yes, you are part of a team. Yes, you're there to race collectively, but at the same time, you just really want to make it your race, and you want to be the one that takes victory and gets the most points for your team as possible.
Of course, but I don't think Koba Lopez is in any position to take the win today. Not with the amount of damage he's got, as we see cars coming off actually on the exit of turn 5, but no, they're back on track out of the way. Drama is over. Now, with regards to the track position, of course, between Jacobs and Lopez, of course, whichever one finishes in second is still going to get the same points. There's no extra advantage, there's no driver championship at stake. It would be simply pride. Now, whilst I don't think the team would make that call, unless Lopez is sitting there screaming into their comms that he is faster and could get away, they might make that decision. But I think if that decision isn't made, or if he doesn't bring that issue up, we might see 1 or 2 of them make a silly move in the dying laps here, Will. which could end up with them both not finishing.
It very well could indeed. Of course, we almost had that about 15 minutes ago, well, less than 15 minutes ago, about 10 minutes ago. As you can see that just behind the trees, you can see Jamie Rushworth, as we'll zoom that camera out. Oh, we got a car off track as well, but that's a lap down car, so no real issues. It's a very novel way of getting out of the way, just moving your car off onto the grass on the very high speed final corner. As there you can see Valentini and Palumbo battling for P6 and 5 and 6 on the racetrack, riding along board with Valentini. He's actually now moved himself up into that 6th position on the racetrack. To run for your retirees, you've got Andy Pers, Ricardo Chevron out of the race, Cresmo Verga, Warmington Sanchez, Valesco, all classified out of the race, and you've got Gigia scored right now 3 laps down, Rachel. Not a good day really for Hellenic Racing Team.
No, it's not, and that I believe that car that went wide in the final corner was also a Hellenic Racing Team car. Risky because, of course, you know, high-speed corner, you go out onto that grass, it could turn it around and come back on track and wipe out the leaders who are lapping you. So as much as we like to see, you know, drivers giving the leaders room and not holding them up, you've got to pick the time and the place well.
You have, and there you can see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 cars really closely separated. Now this is all the way from Adecopa Lopez in 3rd place. 4th place, Jamie Rushworth. 5th place is, let's go, Rushworth trying to show the over-under. In fact, I think that Rushworth would have had that, except for the fact that Copa Lopez just brushed a little bit wide on the exit of the corner and right on long board now with Rushworth. We have seen passes into turn 1, Rachel. It is possible.
He's
Rushworth
going for
is
it
putting
well.
himself down the inside and decides better of it there. As our helicam coverage there, brought to you by iRaceForLife.org. They work themselves down in towards the S's once again. And what a great run Rushworth is having. But that was almost going to be a pass. Let's see if we can get ourselves the replay of that. Because I think actually it all really came down to the fact that Copa Lopez just brushed wide on the exit of the corner.
I think it is, and Copa Lopez is starting to make some mistakes, Will. Although, I'm thinking now Palumbo is catching up to the rear end of Rushworth. As you know, most people might think that this is, you know, Rushworth's fight is over because the other car will probably be past him. But of course, you've got to realise that with both Copa Lopez and Rushworth damaged, Rushworth will get an added bonus from Palumbo's draft to help him get past Lopez. So
Yes.
this could actually help him to jump that position and give him that added buffer of Lopez's car between him and Palumbo. So we could be looking for something interesting in the next couple of laps.
Now,
as we have, well, 1 lap.
Yeah, Copa Lopez, there you can see there, he brushed wide in the chicane. That allowed Rushworth right behind them. They worked themselves through the final couple of corners. Then, unfortunately, wasn't able to make anything of it. But yeah, we are down into the closing stages of this race. Here is your race leader, and there is the gap behind Pablo Lopez and Elena Jacobs. 2-minute warning on the play clock for you NFL fans, and 15 seconds to gap for Lopez. He must be absolutely loving this. Absolutely no pressure at all. But behind, the battle continues with Adecopa Lopez. There you can see him on your screen. To Jamie Rushworth is 6 tenths of a second. Rushworth to Palumbo, 7 tenths of a second. Palumbo to Valentini is 1.3 seconds. And I think any of these 4 could still potentially end up on the podium. And there could be a couple of fireworks in the last couple of laps of this race, Rachel.
It's almost a certainty, Will. These guys are really pushing hard now. And with 2nd, 3rd and 4th all damaged, I don't think Palumbo is. We might see 1 or 2 desperate attempts to get away, or desperate attempts to hang on to someone that could end up with a little bit of shenanigans, shall we call it.
Running back along board with Rushworth, but not anywhere near close enough to make the move this time by as they work themselves down in towards the chicane once again. There's the damage again that you can see to Jamie Rushworth's car. There you can see Pablo Lopez. He will see the white flag this time by. 1 more lap to go, Rachel.
1 more lap, and to be honest, Will, this is a stunning drive from Jamie Rushworth. He's not had the fastest car all day, but with that much damage to his car, he's holding on to 4th place. That is a stunning drive.
It is, and you can see there, he started in the 5th position, running in 4th spot right now, working himself down into turn 1 for the final time. Now, the issue for this one is that Rushworth knows that this is the 3rd Iberica Racing Team car ahead. It's a case of who's got the most to lose here, because Rushworth finishing in 4th, well, that's more points going to Iberica because of the fact that they've got their cars 1, 2 and 3. It's a bit of a strategy game here. The 3rd car's got nothing to lose except the fact that just helping people get less points. I don't think that Rushworth is anywhere near close enough, so they come down into 7. We'll go back on board with him I don't think he's got anywhere near close enough, Rachel. This will be a very, very big dive. Blake
he spins
Rushworth
it.
spins it. And the cracking under pressure, Rushworth spins his car. That's going to drop him down into 7th place, 8th place potentially as he comes back on. Gonzalez is going to go past, down to 8th place. And also 9th place is going to go past as well. But here's Lopez coming down to the final corner. Lopez will take victory here. So Lopez claims victory. What a big wriggle from him. He claims victory here. Second round of the championship. Jacobs will come home in 3rd. Lopez will come home in the 3rd position there. So it's Lopez from Jacobs from Lopez. It is an Iberica Racing Team lockout on the podium. Palumbo in 4th. Valentini in the 5th position. There you can see him. Rushworth is classified on my screens as 6th. Did he get... He did
9th place, Will.
9th place. Our timing and scoring update in a moment. Then actually then be Grilli, then Gonzalez, then Shudovic, then Rushworth, and then Turati. They round out your top 10. But what a crazy last lap there. Just for the fact that Rushworth lost it all by himself. We'll see if we can get ourselves a replay of that one up, Rachel.
Yeah, I don't think that detracted from his drive at all, to be honest, Will. He's had a stunning race all day, and he was giving that lap everything he had. It was really heartbreaking to see him spin it coming out of that corner, but you know in that cockpit he was giving it absolutely everything.
So they work themselves down into that double apex right hand. Of course, let's not forget there is damage to Rushworth's car. So they'll come down into the corner, and you see the first one of them is fine. Then it is the second one just clipping the... That wasn't even the curb, Rachel. That was just right in the centre of the racetrack. We'll get ourselves another look. We'll go on board. That car just looped in the centre of the corner. It's a very weird thing. You don't normally see cars loop it on the apex.
Well, of course not, but let's not forget he has quite a lot of damage on that Movigo racing car. So probably not been pushing hard enough to that point to really have that difference in the aero. Could well have just been the tipping point.
Indeed so, and what a race we have had here today, however. And again, we do apologise for those of you watching this live for some of the issues that we have had. We will get a version of this uploaded for you as quickly as we possibly can. But then, ladies and gentlemen, to run through your final race results. It is going to be then Pablo Lopez taking victory in the Iberica Racing Team car by 13.1 seconds over Daniel Jacobs. Adicopa Lopez in 3rd, Armando Palumbo 4th, Tom Valentini in 5th, Stefano Gurulli in 6th, Fabio Gonzalez in 7th, 8th place is Shudovic, 9th place is Rushworth, and Nicola Soretti rounds out your top 10. On to page 2. Reggie Blaine, 11th for Movigo Racing, Rafael Adepalo in 12th, Bill Kazint for the Hilec Racing Team in 13th, then Conrad and Prito rounding out your top 15. What a race we have just had, Rachel.
It's certainly been an exciting one, Will. We've had a lot of action throughout the whole field. That front battle was intense, including that massive accident we saw, of course, between about 6 of our leading protagonists. So maybe this is not the result we might have had, but it's still one hell of a result either way. And Iberica Racing Team have had an awesome finish today.
Right, we are going to do ourselves a little bit of a switchover. Rachel, you know where to go. I'll meet you on the other side. And we're going to have a quick chat to a couple of other drivers from this race. Just sorting some stuff out. And we are going to start, I think, by having a chat to Pablo Lopez. And Rachel, as far as today's race was concerned, what a race it's been for Pablo Lopez. Incredible finish. I think we're going to have to go and have a chat with him in just one moment. In fact, we haven't got Rachel here, so we're going to go and gate crash. Yes. The celebration for Pablo Lopez. Congratulations, Pablo Lopez, taking victory here at Road Atlanta.
Hello.
Hello, Pablo Lopez.
Oh
it's so
God,
great
what
to
a
finally
race.
talk to you again. What a race. You dominated as far as the timings went, but it wasn't that easy for you, was it?
No, it wasn't at all easy because Adai and Jose were pushing really hard, and I had a moment in the middle of the race and almost lost a lot of seconds, but could save it. My God.
So you led for the very start of the race. The start, because it was a standing start, were you worried that your car would bog down? Because the McLarens really are the slowest starting of all the cars here.
Yeah, in practicing, uh, we were practicing the start, so I had no problem starting, and it's easier to start than the Formula in the WCS, so wasn't a problem.
And of course, you got so much experience from running a number of years within the Iverson.com World Championship Grand Prix Series. Do you think that gives you an advantage on these 45-minute races, knowing that not only do you do standing starts, you do it under so much intense pressure with some of the best racing drivers in the world?
Yeah, of course, there's quite a lot of pressure, but I think it helps because the World Championship is a class higher, and the pressure is higher as well. So here, 45 minutes of hot lapping and not crashing is difficult, but I did I did a perfect race.
Now, a 1-2-3 for the Iberica Racing team. You can't ask for anything better. Not only did you get a 1-2, you actually took more points away from other teams by getting that third place as well. So, as a team, you've got to be incredibly happy with that.
Yeah, we worked really hard this week and it paid off. So I'm really happy with the team, and the winning with new colors is such a good feeling. I can't believe it.
And we've got Delano Jacobs here as well. Jacobs, what a race for you. Slightly more interesting, we have to say, compared to Pablo Lopez.
Yeah, I had almost the car completely damaged all the race since lap 15 or something. Also 15 incidents, so I couldn't risk anything because 2 off tracks and I was out of the race.
Now, take us through the incident, the big incident in the middle of the race from your angle, because it was absolutely huge, and you were very lucky to get through that one without really ending up with your car in the wall.
Yeah, I saw my teammate that spun, and everybody started to slow down, and I tried to evade them, but I did contact with McLaren. I don't remember who it was, and I got damaged, and I only had to keep going. And thanks to my teammate that didn't attack me and let me take that second place.
Of course, Abby Copa Lopez came home in the third position, so it led to a 1-2-3 for that team. Were you worried at all that Rushworth was potentially going to get past your teammate? And were you worried at all that you were potentially holding up your teammate a little bit? Because, of course, in the early stage of the race, both the Lopez's were pulling away from you.
Yeah, I think I was doing stopping all the group behind me because I had that damage. So yeah, that's what happened.
And finally, 45 minutes in the book. So team 1-2-3 for your team. Back to 90 minutes worth of racing next week. Do you think you can carry the momentum over to the slightly more endurance style race?
Well, we have to practice and see the pace that we have. Make a good set, and we hope we make a good result also in the next race.
Well, congratulations to the entire team. 1-2-3 for the Iberica
Caramba.
Racing team. I'd like to say thank you to anyone.
No, thank you for the work of all the team and the bosses, and really pushing up the team to work together, and that's a good thing and pays off.
Well,
Thank you.
well done to all of you locking out the podium here at Road Atlanta. Rachel, it's time for us to jump ship. We're going over to Movie Go.
Guys, that's not exactly the race you wanted today, is it? Tell me what happened from your perspective. Jamie, you start.
Well, it was all going well up. There was a crash between Kobe Lopez and someone else who I forget now. It opened up a gap and gave me a shot at the podium. And then on the very last lap, 4 corners before the end, I accidentally caught my traction control off button and looped it.
Ah, right. The crash between Cobo Lopez from, well, you've probably not seen a replay yet, was with Sanchez, of course, so third place driver. You did have a real chance there, and it seems that it was, I believe, Fernandez coming back on track who managed to clip you with that car. Did you actually know how much damage you had on your Movie-Go McLaren?
It wasn't too bad. It did make it a bit loose on the first downhill section, so that was no longer full throttle. But aside from that, it was pretty manageable.
I see. Well, it looks a lot worse outside than it did inside, so brilliant recovery drive from you there. And you said you caught your traction control off button going through that final corner.
Yeah, I got a bit excited because I thought I might have a chance to get grabbing a podium, and my hand just caught the button. So that button is being moved for next time.
So unfortunate, but honestly, a great drive from you today, Jamie. Really well done with the damaged car.
Thank you.
Reggie Blaine, are you there?
Yes.
Hi. Not a bad finish today from Movie Go. Obviously, you're team captain here. Obviously, you had the 3 cars in the field. Were there any instructions before the race? Did you have a particular plan of action? Did you know how fast that Iberica could be?
Yeah, I always knew those guys were fast, but the aim was to try to have 2 cars inside the top 10, and we did, and that's the aim for the season. So overall, happy with the result.
Of course, let's just remember your cars did finish, I think, 9th and 8th, so top 10 was definitely achieved. Vojek Savidovic, do we have you on air?
I'm here. How you doing, guys?
Hi. Great drive from you today, of course. Lots of fighting with Thomas Valentini, of course, from the Pure Racing team. How was the race from your point of view?
Yeah, I had a good start, but unfortunately, I didn't really match the pace of the guys in front of me. So everybody behind me was starting pushing, and they were getting close and close. So without having a draft, they managed to put in an attack on me. And yeah, into the last chicane was a little bit messy. I almost made contact with 2 drivers, and the third time probably should stay a bit wider. So, and I spun out after that.
Still, bringing it back inside the top 10 was a great result today. One final question, which is going to all 3 of you. And this is something myself and Will Vincent have been talking about during the broadcast. But, of course, your team, this race, was running all 3 car classes. BMW, McLaren and Porsche. You 3, can you tell me from your perspectives what you thought was good? Did you like the cars you were running? And will you be running the BMW again next week, Reggie?
Yeah, well, I don't know if I'll be doing the next race, but I found it struggled with the McLaren to string a load of consistent laps together, and just sort of out of the 3 cars, I preferred the BMW for consistency.
We did note that for a while you were actually the highest placed BMW in the entire field. They all seem to struggle today. Do you think it was the track, or do you think it's just the cars changed relative to the others?
I think the McLaren was probably the fastest car if you could manage to string the laps together. So I did run it, and I didn't really give much time for the Porsche. I didn't run much laps in it, so I just decided to stick with the BMW.
Well, of course, driver comfort is of topmost importance in terms of getting the last lap times together. So, of course, Movie Go Racing finishing 8th and 9th in today's race. Well, great race, guys, and unfortunate end for some of you, but there's always next week. Will?
I think we're going to head over to Team GT World now. So, 3, 2, 1, off we go. Hello, Team GT. No one's
Hello,
here.
guys. Can you hear us?
They don't want to talk to us. Oh, yes, we've got one. We've got one person finally wants to talk to us. Coming home in the 10th position, Nicola Soretti in the number 777 car. Been an interesting race for you here today, hasn't it?
Well, interested for sure, but not very lucky because I failed to qualify and I started dead last. I tried to do my best, but it was very difficult the first couple of laps within the pack. But finally, during the last 5 or 6 laps, I had a good rhythm, good pace, and I managed to get the 10th position, which was really the best I could do.
You got yourself a top 10, which I'm sure you've got to be happy with. As a team, it's not been that great a day, but you did get Palumbo up into 4th place in the end, so you can't really complain too much about that, I guess.
Well, no, Hermano did a great job because he did a nice qualifying in 8th position and he managed to rebound to 4. So it's good points. I mean, it's not bad. It's a best result for us so far. So he did a great job.
Mambo Palumbo, are you here? No, he's not. Rachel, would you like to pretend to be Mambo Palumbo?
I will pretend to be Mambo Palumbo.
4th place here today. Pretty interesting race. Of course, you're right there in the middle of the carnage that went on with about 10 minutes to go.
It was a difficult race for me today. The car was not so fast, but I tried to recover from what I get. Had a bit of a worry early on and to miss somebody when they all crash everywhere around me. So I don't know what his accent is, and I'm probably offending everybody. But sorry, I was trying to do a bit of a Kimmy, but no.
Yeah, that was a lot more Finnish than it was Italian, I have to say.
Oh, Italian! Ah.
Yeah, but Cerati, next week we're back to a 90-minute event. Do you think you're going to fare a little bit better there next week?
Well, first of all, we have to see if I'm going to race or not, because we always try to race the best drivers. So we'll see, because I'm still not very comfortable with the roof, but I'll do my best practice, and we'll see. The best have to race.
I did get a message there. Capsio questo. So I don't know whether that was, did we ask a question or something, but well done to you guys. 4th and 10th place for your points playing finishes. We're going to now head over to the Hellenic Racing Team. And hi guys, been a rather entertaining day for you here today.
Hello.
P13, P17, P20. I will start with who should I start with? I'll start with Bill. Bill, is he here at all?
Bill had to go, had a job to do, so he isn't here.
I'll talk to you then. You came home in the 20th position, and it's been a bit of a tough race for you here today. In fact, it's been a tough race for the entire team. Only one of your drivers finishing on the lead lap, one driver finishing 1 lap down. We saw, I believe it might have been you, who had a bit of a spin down at turn number 3 with a damaged race car.
Actually, I made a stupid setup selection because I started the race with a qual setup, so I had to pit early in order to fill some fuel, and then I had to race with qual setup but heavy on fuel. It was a stupid move.
Well, yeah, Rachel, we know very well that qualifying setups and race setups are 2 completely different animals, especially when it comes down to running in traffic.
Absolutely. Of course, you're running different downforce. You're running perhaps different suspension settings. Of course, you don't mind if your tyres wear more during qualifying than in the race, but in the race that could end up being a downfall. But pretty good recovery considering you had the wrong setup, guys.
I tried to keep a consistent pace. I tried to get out of the way of the fastest pack because when I get out of the pit, I was in front of Pablo, and then I had to give way to all the field.
Not a good position. One of you, I can't remember who it was, but I think we saw one of you in a BMW getting out of the way, out of the final corner on the grass. Who was that?
I do think it's Nikos Koudurakis.
Nikos, did you mean to go on the grass there, or was it just a case of tracking wide, trying to get out of the leader's way? I don't think we have Nikos, fortunately.
No,
but
guys,
unfortunately, we had the 2 BMWs that seems that in this track didn't favor this car. So let's hope in the next track, Spa, it'll be a longer race. We have a better pace and maybe a better result.
Yeah, and
that is something we mentioned.
It's a good point. Also, the BMWs are struggling so much here today, but do you pick your car choices based upon the entire season, knowing that at some tracks you're going to have the advantage and other tracks the disadvantage?
Since we have different drivers in each race and we have different tracks, sometimes we use the same car, sometimes we have to change. For this race, we had the lineup change in the last minute because of illness. Nestras couldn't race, so had to change at the last minute drivers with not so many laps of practice.
Well,
so we used BMW, that's a common car, guys know it and they use it.
Well, guys, it's been a tough day here today, but we'll see you, of course, in 1 week's time at Suzuki Spa-Francorchamps. Rachel and I are just now going to run away over here, but I'll have to wait for her now. Been a rather entertaining day here at Road Atlanta, Rachel, but of course, in 1 week's time, we go to 90 minutes worth of racing at Suzuki Spa-Francorchamps, arguably one of the top 3 GT racetracks in the world.
Well, it's absolutely a track that lends itself to endurance racing well. You know, plenty of long straights where the drivers can have that moment to themselves without having to focus on corner after corner. Of course, probably slightly lower pace than it was tonight, but looking forward to an amazing race at Spa.
So we'll be back for that in 1 week's time here on RaceSpotTV. Again, ladies and gentlemen, we do apologise for a couple of the issues we have had in tonight's broadcast. We'll get a video chucked up on YouTube with the second half of the broadcast before we know it. And as we said at the top of the broadcast, today's broadcast is in honour of Dan Weldon, of course. He lost his life now 3 years ago today at Las Vegas Motor Speedway. Going to play clips of him winning 2005, 2011 Indianapolis 500s to play you out. And Dan, you will never be forgotten.
The checkered flag is out in Indianapolis and the pubs are open in the UK. Dan Weldon has just won the Indianapolis 500.
This has been a dream come true for me. I want to hear the fans some more. I can't hear you. Got to scream. He hit the wall, just like Thomas Schechter. Keep your foot on the gas. Dan Weldon is going to win the race.
Yeah, Dan!
That is unbelievable. Oh my goodness.
Weldon, after finishing second the last 2 years, wins when J.R. Hildebrand hits the wall coming out of... I want to say hi to my family back home and my mother and, you know, the Alzheimer's Association for giving me the opportunity to represent them. It's just an incredible day.
Cut.
We good?
Yep.
You want to switch back over to IRB?
Yeah. Fucking hate Virgin Media at the moment.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
Well,
We have them and they're crap.
The thing is, though, it'll take so long.